TBD.
Thank you. Christy, are you on the line?
That's scary.
Okay, she can come on.
You sound like his voice trying to come over, but something muted.
All right, we'll go ahead and start. This is the pre-meeting, 9:30, so we'll start. Mr. Lake, I need to speak to you. Don't let me forget. I've got a lot of stuff rattling in my head. Approval of minutes for June 1st, 2020, 6 p.m. Any questions? Ms. Hill? Monthly bills for May 2020. Any questions? Ms. Hill? Resolutions. Resolution 2134, approve HIDTA grants. Alan? I don't think anything has changed. Does anyone have any questions?
No.
Whoa. Resolution 2135, adopt ALDOT grant agreement for maintenance of new sidewalks. Carl, are you on the line?
I am. There's no change unless there's questions.
Oh, God. I am so sorry. I can't just-
Sorry if you're on the call. We're just dropping things. It's okay. Hey, Carl, I do have a question. These sidewalks are the sidewalks alongside Decatur High School. Is that correct?
No, ma'am. This is along 6th Avenue where McDonald's is at.
That's right. That's right.
McDonald's is doing some renovations and doing the sidewalk work and reached out to AlDOT and they require this for any permits in their right of way because they can't get an agreement with a private entity, so they get a maintenance agreement with the municipality that it's with.
And we will make sure this is maintained by either McDonald's or AlDOT, right? Not the city?
Well, it'll be McDonald's or us, but that's the agreement thing. The AlDOT, I guess they're just ensuring that the sidewalk will be maintained, being modified by private entities.
Okay. I did want to say that I did drive by the sidewalks going up on, is it Beach that runs alongside? Going up to Decatur High School.
Mm-hmm.
And they looked fantastic. I was going to take pictures for the council, but it was dark. I'll go back. They look great, so thank y'all for doing that as well.
Yep, thank you, and thank Alan. That's all done with the TAP grant, I believe.
Oh, I certainly will. Any other questions for Carl on the sidewalks in front of McDonald's? Okay, thank you, Carl. Resolution 2136, declare surplus of municipal vehicles no longer needed by Street Environmental Services. Becky, any changes?
No change.
Any questions for Becky? Okay. Resolution 2137, adopt Parks and Recreation organizational restructure. Mr. Lake?
There's no changes except the resolution has changed a little bit to reflect what we discussed with finance.
Okay.
And it did go through John and finance department.
Did the structure change at all?
No,
You didn't put the,
no, we did change it.
that's what I meant. Okay.
So, Mr. Ard, that was going to be my question. Did you and Mr. Lake get together and you made your questions resolved?
Yes.
John, your questions to the finance?
We're in a approximately 30,000 savings,
Okay.
depending on how the costs are split, the marketing person between Point Mallard and Parks and Rec.
Okay. And I think we did make a correction. It was 3 jobs created, or 2? The first did not reflect.
2 abolished, 3 created. 2 abolished were the position that was previously occupied by Shannon, and the other one is the position that was previously occupied by the whole board.
Okay. Jason, you feel confident with this?
Yes.
Okay. I agree with you. I think it actually makes a clearer plan for employees and their future of the city. And I appreciate you taking the time to do it and get the time with finance and with Mr. Ard to straighten those out. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Ordinance.
This is Rochelle.
Yes,
The
Rochelle.
Personnel Board is fully supportive of the plan as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. Ordinance number 204411, annexation 36020, Wilshire Development, Alabama LLC, approximately 4.63 acres off Central Avenue Southwest. First reading held on 6/1/20. Matt, are you there?
That's it. Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Any
There's
questions?
nothing really to add.
Any questions? Any questions for Matt? Thank you, Matt. Ordinance number 2040
You're welcome.
204412, amend Code of Decatur, Alabama, Section 2-61, settlement of claims, first reading held on 6/1/20. Herman?
Yeah, hello. Here would be my suggested plan of process. Can y'all hear me first of all? Make sure you hear me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. All right. Someone should move, what we've done, we've made the adjustment we talked about last Monday, which covers insurance process claims. And that language has been added, so there is no requirement for the mayor to, or anybody else to approve under the insurance carrier. So what we did, we changed the language like we talked about. So today, what we would suggest that you do is somebody move to substitute the new ordinance for the one that was previously introduced. Get a motion in a second, then vote to do that. Then you have the substituted ordinance before you. Then someone should move to have immediate consideration. Then you vote on that. And then if that's adopted, and we anticipate it would be, then you would vote on the actual new ordinance. So basically, you vote to substitute the new ordinance, then once that's accomplished, then you vote to have immediate consideration. Once that's accomplished, then you vote on the actual ordinance, and that will work.
All righty, you may have to walk us through that again, but thank you for the insight.
So what is the settlement amount? 25.
Herman, can you validate that? The settlement amount is $25,000?
That's for anything that's not handled through the insurance company. That's right. The maximum amount is $25,000. In other words, if the mayor and the staff have to negotiate any claim settlement of $25,000 per individual, then that would also require the city council to become involved.
And what was the
To approve it
settlement?
also.
What's the settlement amount as
Anything
of?
25,000 or less to be handled internally. If it's more than 25,000, then the council would also have to give approval.
So what's the settlement amount today?
What is the settlement amount today?
Yes,
There is
sir.
no settlement amount today.
Okay. So
I
today,
mean,
it's,
right now, under the present ordinance that we have, there is no restriction on the settlement of cases.
and who typically does the settlement?
I'm sorry, whoever's talking needs to come closer to the mic.
I'm standing in front of a mic. This is Tab. Who currently does the settlement?
Well, if it's an insurance claim, it's handled by the insurance company. Otherwise, it's handled by the mayor and the city attorney.
But is it mostly handled by the city attorney?
We rely on attorneys, and we bring information to the mayor. Yes, that's correct. It's basically the insurance company and attorneys that are doing it now. That's right.
And attorney, so, okay. The mayor is, be it me or any other mayor, is in on the settlement at the tail end, is that correct?
Well, I hate to use the word tail end, but at the end of it, once something's ready to be settled, then the mayor comes involved. That's correct.
Okay, so we rely on our city attorneys, legal people, to make these settlements.
Yes, sir, and the insurance companies, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
But Herman,
I'm sorry,
Herman,
I couldn't see, I forgot the YouTube is 30 seconds behind, and I didn't see anybody's mouth moving, so,
You're
I'm
fine.
sorry, I couldn't tell who was talking.
You're
Thank you.
fine, you're fine, Herman. Mr. Jackson has something.
but Herman, you said that the mayor could come in at the end. That's not absolute, correct?
The mayor does not have to settle the cases if they're handled by the insurance company.
Okay,
That's correct.
he does not have to, but he could, correct?
No, let's make sure we got, the insurance company is responsible.
Oh, no,
for
not the
settling
insurance claims, Herman. I'm not simply talking about the insurance claims. Claims other than the insurance claims, the mayor does not have to come in at the end of that conversation, correct?
I would want somebody to be made aware of and get ready to settle the case, yes.
Okay.
Does not have to, but, if it's 25,000 less,
No, I guess you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. He could be in at the very front end of the conversation is what I'm saying.
oh, yes,
Okay,
oh, yes.
thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It can be acted any time in the process. That's correct.
Okay,
But he could, or she could, anyone that's serving as mayor, but anyone that's serving as mayor should be wise enough to know to not try to perform surgery and remove their own gallbladder. You would trust the attorney to do the legal work, not the city council, not the mayor. We depend on legal professionals to take care of negotiations of this nature. I, for the life of me, cannot understand what in the world y'all are trying to do as far as changing this, amending this code, this ordinance. Especially considering that 4 of the 5 council members are pretty much lame duck and will not see another opportunity to serve this city for 4 more years. Mr. Jackson, is, at best I can tell, is the only council member that's positioned to do that.
I'm not sure how you see that.
Well, I see it. I know the.
Mr. Ard has declared he wasn't
Mr.
the
Ard is
but he can
stepping
change his
down.
mind, so can Ms. Hill.
Ms. Hill is stepping down.
But they
You-
can change their mind. The 25th, I believe, of July
Well,
is the end of
they
qualifying.
can, but they've announced that they will not seek office. You have a named opponent that will,
I haven't declared what I'm running for.
okay, still, even if you were to run for mayor, you're stepping down. And then Mr. Kirby, it's unlikely that he'll see another term. So Mr. Jackson is the only person, and y'all are sitting here trying to make a decision based on those facts.
Well, I'll give you my take on that, which even supports me to support this more. Mr. Jackson and I were made aware of this. We talked about it. And so if, let's say, everyone else goes away, Mr. Jackson, if you think will be here, then it is his request this spring to the council, and it needs to be changed. I personally agree with him. So if everybody else goes away, Mr. Jackson's here, at least he is, in the end, seeing something that he is trying to make better for the city of Decatur.
That's not making it better. $25,000 is micromanaging and not letting the legal team do what the legal team
I happen
does.
to agree with him, but anyway.
Okay, Herman, how many, if we look over the last 4 years, with the changes that have been, how many cases would be brought before the council?
Okay, if I understand your question, if we have this new ordinance in place, there would be no cases brought to the city council under the present ordinance.
There you go. Well, I mean, why?
I think,
If it's changed to the new ordinance, then we would still only have 1, potentially 2, that would be brought to the city council right now that I'm aware of.
And many of these are handled in the hallway of a courthouse. And so you cripple the legal team and been able to be able to immediately settle cases because they have to come before the council.
I have 2 questions, please. Mayor, I'm sorry, I did not catch what you said about my scenario earlier. Either your voice faded or I just didn't hear it.
I don't think you'll serve another term.
Okay. Billy, some research that you...
Did you hear me?
Yes, sir, I heard you. Thank you
Okay.
very much. You indicated you had some research that this was attempted to be changed in the early 2000s somewhere?
2009. 2009.
Okay. And so obviously somebody else felt some kind of reason at that time to change it.
Yeah, that was, and that's, I think that the scenario of being able to settle a deal in the hallway of a courthouse instantaneously, that scares me. The fact that the amount of settlement could be unlimited, that bothers me. So there are a lot of things about this that bother me, and there's no reason that I see that a 5-member council, because it is a strong council, weak mayor form of government, that a 5-member council should not be a part of that process when it comes to the money that belongs to the citizens of the city.
You should be able to trust your city attorney that you put in position to be able to negotiate. Again, that's the legal team.
But I think the key word in that is should.
You can,
We should be able to.
you can.
Well, okay.
And I was going to
I
hold
think
a
that's going to be subjective.
I was going to hold a comment till later, but the last paragraph or two kind of alters that. Regardless of who you trust or don't trust, this can impact money that either enters or leaves the general fund. And that is ultimately what the council is responsible for.
Where the council is responsible for all city assets. And the general fund money or any other money, a part of a settlement, is a part of the city's asset sheet. So I think that when it comes to that, I think that there's some latitude in this, that we allow the mayor to have a $25,000 leeway. And beyond that, if it starts to get into significant funds, I think that the council should be involved in that.
And the mayor, this mayor is typically going to follow the counsel and advice of the city attorney.
Okay. And, you know, there could be a time when the city attorney might make a bad mistake on behalf of the city, and that.
Man, y'all can't even get directors hired. And we expect you to be able to settle cases?
We can get directors hired.
Yeah, you haven't.
But I think that we have not, because basically you went in and you lowballed the one for for youth services. That's one reason
I'm
we didn't get
managing
that
4
one.
departments right now. I'm all of Mr. Terry's departments because can't seem to come together and get somebody in here.
And you're probably managing, Mayor, fewer departments than previous mayors have.
No.
Yeah. The
not-
immediate past, you're probably right, but previous
I am
mayors,
right. I'm not probably right, I
previous
am
mayor, yeah, immediate past, but previous mayors prior to that have handled more departments than you're handling, and they've been able to do that.
What, you talking 20 years ago?
If the guy across the street handles more, has more people reporting to him than that,
But you're talking since '08.
probably, yes.
Not probably, yes.
Yes, okay.
Okay, this is
And
2021.
at that particular point, our city was functioning very smoothly. We were in the black with everything. The city there was no discrepancy about policies or procedures, so the city was running smoothly at that time.
We've leaned processes. We've become a leaner, but you can't, you're not functioning as a body. You're not getting the job done.
And you're probably right in some regards,
I
but
am
to
right.
say that any one person should have full authority over a settlement is absolutely, in my mind, is a mistake.
Okay, I've shared my thoughts.
Okay,
And
I'll
I'll-
share mine.
Thank you. And I'll reiterate, Ms. Hill is not here. She, as most of you know, did have a child about a week or so ago. And it's had complications. That's why she's not with us today. But her request several weeks ago, and Herman, I asked you about this privately, that council be made aware of any type of settlement, because ultimately the council is responsible for the finances. We work for the residents of the city. I get calls every day on where do we spend this money, that money, and that is our duty, is our fiduciary duty as councilmen to have those answers. And I believe you said that was a very good idea for council to be made aware. We're going to do it in a monthly, I think, form, that council will be made aware of these, so we could then inform the public if we were questioned or if they wanted to know. Do you still concur with that?
Well, the answer is yes, but that's what we anticipate, is that within the first week of the month, that after, let's just say June the 30th, by the first week in July, we will anticipate sending out all the claims that we have paid on or settled during that previous month. Yeah, that's what we anticipate, so that y'all will know, and councils will know what's been settled and the amount of money that's being paid out. Yes, that's what we anticipate.
Very good. And therefore, that we can inform the
Yeah.
public if we are questioned, because it is our fiduciary responsibility to answer to the people who hired us. And that would be the public. And it's their dollars, and I happen to agree with 100%. This is their money. They have a right to know where the money goes. So thank you for that. Any other questions on that?
Mr. Kirby, do you know what our FY '20 budget is?
The one that we just had hearings on?
No, sir, FY '20, the one that we adopted.
Yeah, but it was reflective based upon the last year's number versus the expected next year's numbers, and I think you said it was roughly 68.
Okay, did you say that on one of your TV shows this week?
I did correct in the recent past that I had thought the number was lower, and that based on what I heard at the budget hearing, I adjusted what I had most recently heard.
Okay, so you didn't even know what the budget was.
Why are you questioning me at this point?
It's your fiduciary duty to be able to, according to the council
And if I
president.
make a mistake of $3 million in the budget and correct myself publicly on it, I have fulfilled that responsibility, sir.
Okay.
I don't know why you're trying to pick a fight with me this morning.
Okay.
All right, that is all of this agenda. We'll be back in 10 minutes for the meeting. Thank you. Lake will say our invocation in our place this morning. Thank you, Jason.
Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for today, and we thank you for all the gifts that you give us. One of the things that I always take comfort in is knowing that you always come back for that one. Even when there's 100 sheep, you always come back for that one. And one of the things that we ask, Lord, is you to teach us how to do that. And you to teach us how to care about our neighbors, even if it's that one neighbor that we really don't know, but to care about all of them. And we know that if we pray in your name, it'll come true. So I pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jason. Roll call, please.
Bibby,
Present.
Ard,
Here.
Jackson.
Here.
Hill, Kirby.
Here.
Today's agenda items will be acted upon if they meet the guidelines necessary to perform essential minimum functions of the governmental body of a matter of necessity to respond to COVID-19. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Do I have a second? This motion fails to go forward with no second. Herman. Herman?
Sorry, yes, I'm here.
Okay, that did not pass as a whole. Can we do those individually then?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Approval of minutes. City Council regular meeting, June 1st, 2020, 6 p.m.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Ard,
Second.
second by Mr. Jackson.
Are we voting on whether or not it is appropriate?
Let's do that first. We're going to vote on if this is appropriate to be voted on. Roll call.
Okay, and everybody is aware that the motion and second are related to that. Wanna
Just
be
that
clear.
one item.
Okay,
We'll do it individually.
okay. Then Bibby,
Aye.
Ard,
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Hill, Kirby.
Aye.
Okay, we'll move forward. This is a matter of necessity to respond. Do I have a motion to take the...
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Ard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Jackson. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Bibby,
Aye.
Ard,
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Kirby.
Abstain.
1 second. Motion passes 3-0 with 1 abstention. Yes, Bane?
I don't think you have to vote on essential minimum if everybody's here. Everybody's here, I mean, that's gonna be here.
I asked our attorney. I can,
That's why
yeah.
you had to.
I went with our attorney's advice, Bane.
Well, since we're remotely operating and the general public is remotely a part of this, then what you're doing is what I believe needs to be done.
Answer your question? Yes, sir. Okay, approval of monthly bills.
So moved.
Mr. Ard,
Second.
and a second, Mr. Jackson, and this will be a vote for the necessary response for the city business. Roll call.
Bibby,
Aye.
Ard,
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Kirby.
Aye.
That passes 4-0. We will now take a motion to take monthly bills for May 2020.
So moved.
I'll second that again.
Motion by Mr. Ard and a second by Mr. Jackson. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Bibby,
Aye.
Ard,
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Kirby.
Abstain.
Motion passes 3-0 with 1 abstention. Resolutions for today. Resolution number 2134, approve HIDTA grant. Alan.
Yes, ma'am. This is our annual grant that we received from the state to assist with the drug task force to pay for overtime for one officer that we have that's dedicated to the STAC team, so we just request your approval for this grant.
Mr. Jackson, did you get your questions
I
answered?
did.
Wonderful.
I did. I spoke with Chief.
Any other questions? What, first, let's have a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Kirby and a second by Mr. Ard, and this will be a vote to continue for a vote. Roll call.
Bibby.
Aye.
Ard.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Kirby.
Aye.
That motion passes 4-0. Any discussion or any other questions for Alan? I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Kirby, and a second, please.
So moved.
Mr.
Second.
Ard. And roll call, please.
Bibby.
Aye.
Ard.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Kirby.
Aye.
This motion passes 4-0. Thank you, Alan. Resolution number 2135, approve ALDOT agreement for maintenance of new sidewalks. Carl?
Yes, ma'am. This is a maintenance agreement for the permit process for the McDonald's on 6th Avenue for sidewalk work, which is a part of their improvements, and I recommend approving it.
Okay. We will have first a motion to vote on this.
So moved.
Can I get a question before I decide?
Sure, sure.
Carl, why is this of an immediate, why do we have to have immediate consideration of this now? Why is that so important that we do it now?
Well,
Because I don't see it as an emergency type.
For McDonald's, in order to get their ALDOT permit to move forward their renovations they would like to do, this has to pass.
So it has to pass before they can get their LDOT renovations. Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
All right, we'll have a vote to carry on with the vote, please. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ard, and a second by Mr. Jackson. Roll call, please.
Bibby.
Aye.
Ard.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Kirby.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Now we will actually have a vote on the agreement itself, the ALDOT agreement. Carl, I do have one question. Do we have a timeline when this will take place?
I do not know. I'm assuming they have applied for their permit through the building department, and outside of that, it's a McDonald's thing that they're doing, so I really don't know what their timeframe is.
It shouldn't
I'm
impede,
assuming they're wanting to move forward as soon as they can.
it shouldn't impede traffic on 6th Avenue at all, should it?
Who knows?
I won't say that for certain, because if they have to do some traffic control, if they're working that close to the right of way, it could have some impact on the traffic, yes.
Okay, if that, can we ask to be made aware of that so we can make our residents aware in the timing of that? Because people do use that, it's pretty busy in the morning and the afternoon.
I can get in touch with them and try to make sure we have some announcements made, at least publicly, whether it's paper, police department. I always ask people to at least address the police department when they're going to do any kind of traffic control in the city.
Great, well, that does, and Amy puts it out wonderfully on social media, so maybe that'll help. Thank you. Any other questions? All right,
So moved.
motion by Mr. Kirby,
Second.
and a second by Mr. Ard.
I was tempted for other reasons not to vote for this, and I have reconsidered that. I do want to make the point that if you will visit 6th Avenue, look up and down, you'll find numerous sidewalks that need fixing and change there. If I voted no here, it wouldn't be fair to the McDonald's people. Probably would be considered a bit of a cheap shot, which I don't intend it to be. I'm just trying to raise our awareness that because they have construction, we see their sidewalk, but if you go on the west side, south of there, and on the north side, well, the north side is west there, I think the south may be the east side, but there are sidewalks crumbling, falling in, and that kind of thing, and if we're gonna maintain them in one area, we need to be maintaining them all on a kind of an equal basis, so I just want to raise our awareness, but I'll support this.
Okay, Carl,
And
let's make
Mr.
clear,
Kirby,
they're paying for this, right? McDonald's is, and we really haven't said who's going to maintain it further yet?
Correct, yeah, McDonald's is paying for this, and Mr. Kirby, I guess if the council mayor wanted to try to take over maintenance of things outside the right of way along the state route, I think the state would probably entertain that, but that's a decision y'all would need to make.
Carl, are you telling me that the right-of-way is more than 3 feet from the edge of the highway? Or not as far as 3 feet? Excuse me.
It probably varies, but there's probably parts of it that's probably within 6 foot of the back of the curb, yes.
Thank you.
And Carl, I was thinking that we even had some places along there that went as far as 12 feet back. So, yeah, I would say yes, Charles.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? We'll take a roll call on that, please. And that is for the actual resolution.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
For
I'm
me.
waiting on you.
Bibby.
Aye.
Ard.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Kirby.
Aye.
That motion passes 4-0 for the ALDOT agreement. Resolution number 2136 declares surplus of municipal vehicles no longer needed by the Street Environmental Services. Becky?
Good morning. This Street Environmental Services would like to surplus 3 trucks, a forklift, and a tire changing machine, and we'll be selling those on cocktails.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Ard and a second by Mr. Kirby to vote to continue voting. Roll call, please.
Bibby.
Aye.
Ard.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Kirby.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. So now we will take a motion, or any questions for Becky on the surplus of municipal vehicles? Becky, we did discuss a little bit last time, and Ricky, you may can help. Some of these items are in your way to actually, that you could use, right? Is that correct?
That's correct, Ms. Dee.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call, please. Oh, I need a motion, right?
So moved.
Please, motion by Mr. Kirby,
Second.
second by Mr. Ard. Roll call, please.
Bibby.
Aye.
Ard.
Aye.
Jackson.
No.
Kirby.
Aye.
Motion.
I'm sorry. I'm abstaining. I didn't realize you-
Oh.
I want to abstain from that. Can you change that, please?
Okay.
No.
Sure.
Noted.
Surplus of vehicles is passed 3-0 with 1 abstention. Thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
Resolution 2137, adopt parks and recreational organizational restructuring. Mr. Lake?
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you for looking at this and the advice from the last meeting. We did get with our CFO along with the Finance Department and the Mayor to look over the savings for this, and once we all got a comfortable number, that's what we went with. The goal for this has been to make the department more efficient. I never went into this looking to save money or spend more money. I wanted to see what we could do to become more efficient, to be able to fill some of the gaps that were in the organizational structure. And I feel like this does this, so I ask for your approval on this resolution.
Rochelle, if you'd like to speak on it, we'll let you do that also.
Just to say that the Personnel Board fully supports the operational efficiency as well as the organizational structure that permits employee development in that department.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion that we continue on for a vote.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Ard. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Kirby, so we will take a vote on that. Roll call, please.
Bibby.
Aye.
Ard.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Kirby.
Aye.
The motion to continue passes 4-0.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Ard,
Second.
second by Mr. Kirby. Any other discussion?
Jason, effectively, you've been working on this a while, right?
Yes, sir.
And so there will be some shifts of employees or positions within the department. When will that take effect?
Well, right now, of course, there's a hiring freeze, so we
Will it happen before the new budget year?
I hope so. I
Okay.
hope it does.
So
We have
we'll-
people in interim positions right now.
So
that
it
have
could
been-
be during this term of office, so effectively be working on it a while and affecting department budgets and things, and to get the next year off running, it is kind of important time-wise.
It is. It is. And we discussed those scenarios with finance and John to make sure that not only did we look at the initial, what it would do, but what it would do through the hiring. In other words, depending on, so we ran different scenarios at different people starting at different levels and all those things, just to see what it would do to us budget-wise. And we feel comfortable that, because some of those numbers actually come out to more of a savings. So.
Thank you.
And I'm glad, just for clarity's sake, I'm glad that you answered that question, because that was why I was intending to support it, because of the impact on this budget that we're about to review now.
Well, and one thing is I've got, of course, 2 hands and 2 feet, so I can count pretty good. But Ms. Harris is here, Rochelle, John, there's a lot of people that, when I would say, what about this, they were really good, and especially with Rochelle. I've been working with Rochelle on this probably a year now. So I couldn't have done it, you know, without their help and their input, and that's the reason I wanted to thank y'all for last week, because that's what it's about, is getting input to where we do it right the first time. So.
Thank you, Jason. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Debbie?
Aye.
Ard?
Aye.
Jackson?
Aye.
Kirby?
Aye.
Passes 4-0 to adopt the new Parks and Recreation organizational structure. Ordinances, ordinance number 204411, annexation 360-20, Wilshire Development, Alabama, LLC, approximately 4.63 acres off Central Avenue Southwest, first reading held on 6/1/20. Matt? Matt, are you on the line?
Well, this is Herman. This is one of those where y'all have already dealt with some zoning and all that, so it's important to get this annexation handled. So it's because there's a limited time that you have to rezone something like this. So anyway, I don't know where Matt is, but that's my thoughts.
Do you happen to know what acreage we've already passed? I mean, I know it's connected, I'm not sure. I don't have it in front of me.
It's in excess of 30.
Yeah, I don't either.
It's quite a bit, I believe.
I think
Yeah,
this one's on the
it's
fourth.
several acres. It's single-family housing, so that's very good.
Thank you, Herman. Okay, I'll take a motion that we continue on. With the vote. Motion by Mr. Ard, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kirby. Roll call, please, and this is to continue per vote.
Debbie?
Aye.
Ard?
Aye.
Jackson?
Aye.
Kirby?
Aye.
Passes 4-0 to continue on. Any other questions? I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Mr. Kirby, and do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Ard.
And let me say, based upon the question from Bain a while ago, my viewpoint in almost half of this agenda has shifted. I didn't even consider that particular angle, but all the voting people today are present, and so some of my votes, in my mind, have changed while we're sitting here today, and I'll support it.
You should have seconded, instead of wasting the time of the council and the people.
Another attack, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
He actually was the motion, or he motioned for it, Mr. Ard seconded it. Okay, we'll take a vote, please. Roll call.
Debbie?
Aye.
Ard?
Aye.
Jackson?
Abstain.
Kirby?
Aye.
The motion passes 3-0 for the annexation 36020. Ordinance number 244, and one abstention, I'm sorry. Ordinance number 24412, amend Code of Decatur, Alabama, Section 2-61, settlement of claims, first reading held on 6/1/20. Let's go ahead and get a motion to continue with the vote.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kirby, a second by Mr. Ard. Roll call, please, on that.
Debbie?
Aye.
Ard?
Aye.
Jackson?
Aye.
Kirby?
Aye.
4-0, so that will continue for a vote. Anyone else, any questions? We had some discussion beforehand. Herman, do you have any?
You need the new one. All it does is adjust, like we talked about, the insurance claim will be handled by the insurance company. The $25,000 for anything other than those will remain in place. It does not change that in any wise. So my suggested procedure would be that somebody move to substitute this new ordinance for the one that was previously introduced, have a second, vote on that, once that's voted and approved, then you would come forward and move for immediate consideration. Some council member would in a second.
All right, let's do that.
And vote on that, and then if that passed, then vote on the actual one. So it's a three process. It's pretty straightforward.
All righty. Do we have a council member that would like to move to adopt the new wordage for this resolution?
So moved based upon Herman's recommendations.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kirby, a second by Mr. Ard. Let's go ahead and vote on that. Roll call.
Bibby.
Aye.
Ard.
Aye.
Jackson. Kirby.
Aye.
Okay, that passes 4-0. Herman, do we also need to now vote the necessity to vote on this? Since we have every.
I thought you did that earlier. Maybe you didn't. If you
I
didn't,
don't-
yes, you would need to do
Oh,
that.
did I? Okay, great, then I apologize. Okay, so now,
That's okay.
Herman, we are asking for immediate consent, is that correct?
That's right. Y'all are doing well so far.
Thank you. Is there a council member that would like to recommend we go to immediate consent for this ordinance?
So moved.
Motion. I'll second it then.
Motion by Mr. Kirby and a second by Mr. Jackson for immediate consent. Roll call, please.
Bibby.
Aye.
Ard.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Kirby.
Aye.
4-0 for immediate consent. So now we will be at the actual ordinance number 204412. Any discussion?
I'll make a motion.
All right, Mr. Jackson's motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Kirby? Very good. Roll call, please.
Well,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I still have the same, still would ask that the council not find favor with this based on the discussion that we had during the work session.
Mr. Kirby, you had a comment?
Yeah, we've made the statement that the council's responsible for the public's money, and I don't know that it's necessarily fair to a mayor, nor do I think a council is doing its due diligence if it avoids getting involved in this, because we are responsible. If a mayor makes a popular or unpopular decision, he takes the burden on something that should be the council's problem. So I want to be fair to whoever the mayor could be currently or in the future, because this should be a council problem, and I don't think we should dump that burden on the mayor.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please. Stacy?
Sure. Bibby.
Aye.
Ard.
Aye.
Jackson.
Aye.
Kirby.
Aye.
Ordinance number 204412 passes 4-0. That is all we have on our agenda today. Wanda, I believe you wanted to make a wonderful announcement.
Yes, recycling collection will resume tomorrow, June 16th. The schedule hasn't changed. We'll start with red route on tomorrow. If anyone's not familiar with the recycling calendar, it's on the city's website under the recycling tab. We just ask that everyone be patient with us, because I know a lot of people have been storing their recyclables in their garages and storage rooms, and we're just asking everyone not to put everything out at one time. To, maybe put a couple of bags of recyclables and then maybe the cart, so we can empty the cart and that'll make more room for other recyclables.
Wanda, question?
Yes, sir.
The routes will all be identical to what they were prior to the suspension?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Wanda, I'd just like to say a personal thank you. I know that it's been about 2 weeks of you really working hard to get who we needed out there to sort, and so thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be back.
I know.
have one other thing. Herman, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Herman, I got a call from a citizen yesterday, and are you there, Herman?
Yes. Yes, sir.
And they asked me about the possibility of masks for, requiring our citizens to wear a mask in public places. Now, while I think we're possibly not at that point yet, I know that Birmingham had taken some measures, but I also know that Birmingham is classified differently than all other cities are, as there are provisions in Jefferson County that by legislative act are nowhere else in the state. and we all know that. But I would like to at least know ahead of time, if we ever get to that point, I'd like to know ahead of time what our options are as far as requiring masks or requiring certain precautions like that ahead of time. I don't want us to be in a situation where our backs are against the wall and then we have to try to figure out where, you know, what our options are at that point. I'd like to know what our options are ahead of time as far as that being a requirement. And if you could research it for us, I'd be appreciative for that.
I appreciate that. We'll do that, sure will. That's a great question.
All right.
Thank you, Herman, and if you could just email that to all the council members, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, okay, that'd be great.
Thank-
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you like Wanda, give me a little time.
Absolutely.
All righty.
Do I have a
Thank you.
motion to adjourn?
Yes, ma'am.
Do I have a second? Thank you.